Okay, I call to order Tourism Commission meeting for October 27th. Is there anything else I need to do?
No, not really. You're good there. I'm going to pull up the agenda.
Okay. First item is the Lacrosse America Madison Capital Classic.
And I can zoom down here. So again, the reason why we're meeting today is because we realized we did not meet quorum at the last meeting. So Angela cannot vote on this because her hotel properties have a bid in. So this will just be between Jose, Kevin, Kathy, and Kate. And oh, I think we lost Angela. Or is she just not on my screen? Oh, there you are.
No, she's still there.
And so does anyone have any questions following up for this? Just a recap, they're asking for $7,500. That will be spread out over 3 years. They're asking for a matching fund from Verona. And this will come with room blocks for Middleton as well as the Verona area. Peak room nights, they're saying 500. Right now, to my knowledge, they're considering room blocks both at the Marriott and at least one of GF properties. So it looks like at least 2 of our hotels will be seeing some room nights from this. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and ask. Otherwise, I'll let Kevin take it over to ask for a motion to accept the grant. And again, with all grants, you can make a decision on whether or not you want to do a full amount or whatever. Oh, and again, this will be coming out of the rollover fund, Kate. So we have a rollover fund with Madison Area Sports Commission. And so this isn't coming out of the 22 or 23 budget.
I think we've talked about this one quite a bit, so we're probably ready for a motion.
This is Kathy. I'll make a motion to approve the full amount out of the rollover fund.
This is Kate. I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, if we're ready, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed?
That was not me opposing.
Motion carries.
All right.
Okay, second on the agenda is the Flow Blue International Collectors Club grant application.
Yes, so this will be for July. They have already booked in the Marriott, which is the reason why Jim can't be involved. I also have their budget sheet if anybody wanted to look at that. I tried to add in as many details as I could into her application, and of course she reviewed it before she signed it. It's not a lot of room nights over those days. She did say that quite a few people usually come a day or 2 before and stay a few days after because they're coming from all over. All together, they're expecting or hoping for about 284 overnight stays. Their grant request, goodness, why is it I always struggle trying to find this? There it is. Their grant request is $10 per overnight room stay at any Middleton hotel property per contracted night. The funds would be used toward publishing and promoting the event. And then these are the items I pulled out of her original grant request and budget that I think you could apply toward marketing. All together, I think she had budgeted about $400 for the catalog. Save the date cards when you're printing and mailing and your flyers, which we'd create the flyer, but she would print and mail. And then she would also print and include in the registration packets. But the big item on their budget, which I'll show you as well, I think I have it in this Excel sheet, is they are doing 2 tours of Middleton where they're hiring transportation, like a trolley or a bus, to take people around Middleton and having like a guided tour. So the Thursday tour cost is about $2,600. And I think that's 2 different tours. And so that I thought was a pretty cool thing that they were adding on that we don't even have to organize for them. It's hopefully going to increase, you know, the experience for the people who are attending. So I'm going to bring that back up again for you.
Mari, who's
So-
designing the tour? Are you helping them put that together?
They haven't asked for our help. I think that they reached out to a company. So I offered help in whatever they needed. They do blog posts and newsletters, and I offered to write those for her. So we're planning on, she's going to give me some deadlines for the beginning of the year. And then we're going to put together a one-sheeter for her like we do other meetings. And these are things we do whether they get the grant or not. And so the one-sheeter will be like, so you're staying in the Marriott during these days. Here are the shopping and dining and attractions near you. Here are contact phone numbers for things. Here are other events in the area, that kind of thing. And then they're going to print that off. Usually we print it off for meetings, and it, you know, runs us. If you print it off at FedEx, it can run up to like $100. If we can manage to print it off here, we get a discount. But she'll be using those as well, and because they're not really super familiar with the area, right? And we want to make sure that they tour more than just Greenway Station. We want them to come downtown and see what's there too. So this is, you know, let's see here. I'm going to do the math really quick, which I should have done before. In all, like, let's say they just bring in the minimum, and we're not talking, because they're not doing the contracted, we wouldn't be paying for any of the nights outside the contracted night. So if people come early or later, that would not be a $10 per night thing, right? So 284 by 10 is just $28.40. So if you guys wanted, you could say, yes, we would approve a grant up to like $2,840. You could also say we would approve X number of dollars toward your marketing. So, you know, $1,000 grant, or you could even increase it. She is suggesting the $10 per room night grant. You guys can make a decision on whether or not you think that's enough or too much, or if you'd rather, you know, go a different way.
All right, can you remind me or scroll to, is this a first year event?
This is a first year event here, and they rotate. And so we wouldn't be back on their rotation for several years, probably. I'm trying to see if they had that listed here, or if that was just in my conversation with her. Give me 1 second. Yeah, and this is their description of how the different ways they would try to include Middleton in their promotions. Yeah.
And they've already committed to having this event at one of our hotels?
Yes, to my knowledge, they've already booked the Marriott, a room block at the Marriott. Okay, here we go. In 2022, they were at Memphis. And they just kind of hop around. I don't remember her mentioning any West Coast areas. I think they kind of stay East Coast, Midwest. Because I think she said that they had been in Kentucky at one point too. So yeah, that's what I know.
And part of the tour, are they making stops as part of the tour, or just kind of touring around and people are on their own to go back and do whatever interests them?
She didn't, you know, that was a great question. I didn't ask. I just saw here and in another document, it described 2 bus tours around Middleton.
Okay.
But I could go back and ask for that.
Just, I was just curious. I mean, it just makes a little bit of a difference on like what their spend might be if they're like downtown for a half hour. That would kind of force them to spend money downtown. They're at Greenway for a half hour. That was the only reason
No,
I asked.
I totally understand what you're asking there. And I could go back and ask her any questions you guys have, and we could vote on this in November if you'd prefer.
Sorry, I'm in the meeting. Do you need me right now?
Yeah. Do you have any face masks? There's none up there.
We don't right now.
Okay, thank you.
I'm trying to think, where is this? because I believe when I was talking to her, they're planning on starting promotions definitely in like the new year. And so we would have some time, excuse me, if we needed to bump this again.
So it's approximately 284 room nights with approximately how many actual sorry, I
Oh, guests?
apologize. Like, how many guests are these families? Are they couples?
The way she described it, because so Flow Blue China is that China that has blue designs that kind of look like they're blurred.
Mhm.
So it's a collector's thing. So my guess is they are singles and couples, but not families.
Okay.
If somebody brings a family, it would be a very like one or two because they're
Yeah.
coming from another country. She has about seven attendees that come from overseas. So whether or not they're bringing people like with them, family members, in order to then, enjoy the Midwest, I don't know. But my guess is this is very much like the Button conference we had, where you're getting an older demographic, singles to couples, but they're also a demographic that spend money. They go shopping and go out to restaurants.
And frequently what I've seen with tour groups and those types of crafter groups or collector groups is they do have some significant portion of their group is double occupancy. They'll save on the rooms pairing up so that way they can have more fun spending.
Yeah. I mean, I'm interested in what everybody else thinks. $10 per room seems reasonable to me. I don't know if we want to cap it if they get to a certain amount, but what does everybody else think?
I think it sounds pretty reasonable for what they're planning to do around town. And perhaps we should cap it at just over 3,000, because I don't think that 2,800 is that much actually.
Well, we could say $10 per room night, per blocked room night, that whole thing, up to $3,000.
Yeah.
And then if she comes back to me and said, this is amazing, we have 500 people coming, we can review whether or not we want to increase that grant or just offer a different type of grant. Because we'll have the meeting planner grants hopefully approved by then too. So we could be like, well, this is a lot of business. We could offer you, as a group this size, we wouldn't normally offer free raffle baskets. But, if she were to increase it, then she would definitely probably reach that limit of having, because we spend about $100 or so on the raffle baskets. So we could be like, we'll donate a free VIP basket for you to do for like a giveaway or something like that. We could always increase it if she comes back and says, this number has gone up. What I've seen a lot with these conferences is it's a very loyal group, and it's the same people going each time. So it doesn't drastically increase or decrease each year. And I mean, for some of these groups where it's an older audience, it'll start to decrease for a little while. But anyway, if you want to, I can definitely say $10 per room night, cap at 3,000, and that gives them room to grow.
I think that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's reasonable and in line to what we have done in the past.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the grant request for $10 per room night with a cap of 300 room nights.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone
That's-
opposed?
I will send out that letter to her. And then with things like this, we just always hope that they'll keep us in rotation. Like the Button conference that brought a ton of people to town. They rotate, but he was so happy with how things were going here. There's a great possibility that we'll be in a rotation faster than, not. So
Mari, it'd
And-
be kind of nice if they have you review the or give a look at the tour that they're putting together. It'd be nice to have just as information of what they're going, where they're going. And in the future, if anybody else you want to offer tours like that, you'd have one that's already done.
Sure.
If they want you to review it, you know.
Okay, depot update.
Okay. Okay, just quick. So obviously the painting is going on. We are very nearly done. They should be mostly done with the building, if not entirely done by the end of tomorrow. And they'll start the wagon tomorrow and hopefully be done by next week. We ran into a little snafu with the color red being almost iridescent. So they started painting and it went on almost clear, and we realized it was going to take 5 coats. So we went back through the company. They changed the brand of the paint. It's a thicker paint, but still required in some places 3 or more coats. But we were only being charged for 1 additional coat. So the contract was for priming from top to bottom and 1 coat top to bottom. And we went through and decided we were going to pay for a 2nd coat because we had to, just of the red. And Jim and Kevin were copied on those emails, and Jim gave me permission to just make that decision without having to call another meeting, since it was only, around 6,000. So we have, they're very nearly done. During this process, I also found out, so what I was told was that we went through the process of the landmarks committees and the railroad to find out what color we had to paint the railroad depot. During this whole thing, when I thought we might have to change the color red to something else, I reached out to all of these committees to find out how hard is this to do. And the state historical society landmarks people got back to me and were like, it doesn't matter what color you paint. You could paint it any color you want. That's something that changes the integrity. So we didn't need to do yellow and red. And I'm telling you all this in case I'm not here in 8 to 10 years. We can choose any color we want. I have an email about it. It's put in the file. My suggestion next time would be a blue-gray building with dark green accents.
That is the color. That's the color of that railroad, and that's why it was painted that color. So, not that you can paint it any color, but that's why it was painted, and that is a landmark. So I think we should stick with the railroad colors.
Well, we'll definitely be able to check on that because in paintings that I found, the building was blue-gray with green accents. And that would be far prettier, honestly. So it's something to talk about in 8 or so years when we have to budget for this. But again, they're almost done, but I wanted to let everybody know that we did increase the cost for the painting in order to get it done. And apparently you choose certain colors like reds and blues and things like that. It'll always take a minimum of 2 coats because the more pigment you add to paint, the thinner it gets. This is what I'm learning. So, and apparently we didn't need to prime the whole building, but it was done before we got to that decision. So, and if we hadn't primed, we probably wouldn't have had to have done so many coats. But anyway, that's where we are, learning experience on this painting project for sure. And next time we do this, I would definitely suggest, rather than speaking to the sales company to get the quotes, like talking to the actual painters, because I feel like that would probably give us a better insight on how products go on and how they work. But the company has been great, and they made everything right away. I mean, within that day, they made all the changes and went and got the paint and started and got it done still within the same amount of time that they originally were going to get it done, even though they were out there working like crazy to get the extra coats. So it looks fantastic, and it'll last us hopefully at least a decade, and then we can go through this process again. And all of the people who have been working on the site have been great. They've been really like trying to work around us being here, coming in and giving us lots and lots of updates, asking for our opinions, having us look at things before they move on. They've been really like, they want to do a good job, and they have been. Next up, I just want to remind everybody that we need to approve the letter to the Cross Country Destination Partnership Grant. We have to approve that at the next meeting. So when I send out the packet, I'll have that letter in there again. The only things I'm adding are 2 more stipulations about the thing we talked about hotel blocks, and then also communication with the city. I had communication with Visit Middleton and Madison Area Sports Commission and realized I really need to add the city because the city is also a partner with them. I will hopefully have 3rd quarter review. Right now I have about half of the hotel tax for 3rd quarter turned in. So actually like almost exactly half. So hopefully by then I'll be able to give you guys a review on that. We'll have a marketing manager update. We're doing an interview tomorrow. So I will give you an update on that. Our last interview candidate decided to stay with her current position. So we reached out to the next one in line and we will interview tomorrow. And then again, we'll be hopefully at a point where we can start signing off on the tourism grants to get those online. And that's all I've got. Any questions from any of you? And if November 15th doesn't work, please give me a shout. We can always move the meeting, and you can always Zoom in or call in as well. Because the only thing we really need to do at the next meeting is approve this letter. But also we should be talking about what we want to name the Nordic Center, because they part of our grant was naming rights. And so right now I've been calling it the Middleton Nordic Center. And if you guys have a different idea, then we should definitely talk about that, because he does need to know the name pretty soon. So once they get started on fundraising phase 2, he'll have a name for what phase 1 was, which is the trailhead. And the trailhead includes offices and the place where you can rent skis and all of that stuff. And that's all I have, guys.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
I'll make the motion to a second.
Do we vote on that? I forget, on a motion to adjourn?
I don't think
Just
we
adjourn,
have
right?
to vote on adjourning, do we, Kathy?
Let's do it so we can get on.
Okay.
Gotcha. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, me. Aye.
Motion
Okay.
carries.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time today, and we'll get these things sent out.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.